Hey there. Welcome to this presentation on the Story Compass. I'm going to tell you all about the Story Compass, why it's such an amazing, incredible, innovative product for your business, and it can make you a ton of money. It's going to be a perspective on storytelling that you may not have heard before, especially not in a business context. This isn't theory. It's not another branding formula or a content strategy. This is about how story works at the deepest level, and emotionally, energetically, and even spiritually. It's how it shapes everything downstream in your business. It's philosophical and it's practical. And yes, it is designed to make you more money, but in a way that actually is from full integrity, full truth, full alignment with your purpose. This came from years of work, not just with brands, but with films, with scripts, with founders, with movements. So it's built on a very simple truth, what I'm going to show you, the Story Compass, that the clearer your story is, the more aligned your business becomes. So if you've got a great product or service, but people aren't quite feeling it at the depth that you know is the truth, that's what this is all about. It's about bringing them closer to that truth so that they can really feel the depth of what your business is. And then, of course, they'll buy from you, but there's something even deeper that you give to them through really honoring your truth and then using story as a language to translate that truth to your audience. This is about transmission. It's about resonance and what your business is actually here to say, and how to shape that into a storytelling language that actually is going to connect with them. It'll also be super tangible. I'm going to walk you through actual ROI, case studies, and you'll leave with a sense of what this really is and whether it's for you or not. So that's it. If you're down for a little exploration journey, let's get started. Okay, I'm just going to do it straight from the Canva doc because it allows me to do a lot of things. So this isn't for you if your only goal is to make money. That's basically just saying that your business has to be connected to something deeper in order for this to work. Because that something deeper is where we get all our story DNA that's actually going to resonate with people, right? It's the truth and authenticity of your business connecting to with the truth of the market and closing the gap between those two truths. So you need to be driven by something that is true and something that is real, that is not just the fiat surface level, like thought of a cool idea and it can make a lot of money. If you trust in data and market metrics over soul and intuition. So pretty simple, guys. There's two schools of thought, and we'll talk about it a lot in this presentation. And these are always in conflict with each other, I think, in business, even in film and art. Okay, there's the data, the analytics, the market research, trends and hype, AI, the analyzing, and then there's the inspiration, the clarity, the flow, the harmony, the nature, the alignment, the receiving. I think a lot of us watching this presentation know what I'm talking about here. Now, the issue is that this is a very intangible space. It's based on, the present where you get the inspiration, and then it's generally a vision for the future, right? Whereas the data and the algorithms and such is all based on the past. So it's a bit of a fear-based perspective versus a trust-based perspective. And what the Story Compass is really all about is taking this inspiration. See, this is somebody getting a giant idea. We all know what that feels like when you get struck with inspiration, that idea not fully formed, but the depth of it and the feeling of it. It's about translating that into a storytelling language that your audience can really feel. So as closely as possible, they feel what you felt in that moment. That's really it. This is what this entire presentation is going to be about. So I'm going to try to keep it quick. And then this side has its use as well, of course, but it's not my world. There's a lot of people out there that can teach you all of this, the proper business mechanics and such. And we're going to be exclusively focused on this side over here. All right. This is, in a sense, the villain of this work. Not really, because we need both, but I really want to push the balance over here and show you that we're moving into an era now where by honoring this side a lot more, you're going to make a lot more money. So you think storytelling in business is the fluff. Again, first marketing meeting I ever went into 6 years ago when I entered this world, they were looking at all the data and the metrics, and the ideas were coming from that realm, where the actual inspiration was called the fluff. It's something you put on the about page or whatever, whereas we are going to show you a whole different perspective. So words like alignment, frequency, and resonance make you roll your eyes a bit. and you're looking for next AI hack, funnel tactics to fix your business, this is not about that. This is about truth, transmission, resonance, alignment, frequency, inspiration. All right. And I'm going to show you, and then translating all of that into storytelling. So the truth is, this process is about realigning your business to its origin frequency and using story as the vessel to transmit that frequency to the world. If that doesn't resonate, this may not be for you. If it does, welcome. You are in the right place. So if you're still here, congrats. It's probably because you've built a meaningful, high integrity brand, but your output still feels flat, scattered, misunderstood, or worst of all, generic. You've paid the agency a lot of money, and you've gotten the folder of decks, copy, mood boards, and somehow still no one's captured the actual essence of what you're building. Guys, I've seen so much money spent from founders on the agency where they don't even have clarity themselves, and they're hoping that the agency can come in and give that clarity. And then they spend $60,000, $100,000, $200,000 on an employee that doesn't work out and such, and just the money is just getting spent like crazy when nobody's actually done the work to find the signal, to find the core thing that's going to tie everything together. And that's what the Story Compass is going to do for your company. So just think, we're going to talk about ROI, and it's going to blow your mind. But you feel the vision in your bones, but every time you try to share it, doesn't quite land. It's very normal. You've been playing the game, tweaking your messaging to fit the market, and now your brand feels like a hazy reflection of the original vision. And you secretly wonder, what if no one ever truly gets it? What if I'm the only one who can feel what this is meant to be? Now, I wrote this here, and I think it's important. There is some truth to that. You have to accept it. If you're building something great, there is going to be a part of that only you can ever grasp the full vision of it. But that's okay. It's why you're here. Your job and the purpose of the compass is to allow everyone else to get as close as possible to that feeling that you know intimately. So just imagine what would happen if you got an idea for a product or a business and it was so powerful that you changed the trajectory of your life for it. Don't you think if you could transmit that vision, that same feeling to your audience, that they'll at least buy the thing? So this is it's completely logical, but people have just been very scared to go all in on that inspiration because it is an unfamiliar language that doesn't quite fit into the data. So again, this is what we're all going to talk about, everything today. So you've been assigned this mountain to show others that it can be moved. One of my favorite quotes, and it's very reflective of what we've just spoken about there. Now let's look at the real problem. You've been trying to build resonance without anchoring in truth. So it's impossible. You cannot build resonance on the left side of the spectrum. I guess this is kind of like left brain and right brain, right? You can't build resonance with this stuff. Resonance only comes from this side. It's simple as that. But a lot of people use those words in storytelling, and they'll use, inspiration and such without ever really knowing how to trigger it. Yeah. So what is resonance really? I put a definition here. A condition in which an object or a system is subjected to an oscillating force having a frequency close to its own natural frequency. Truth connects with truth. So when you're connected to your own truth and communicating that through your business language, that's going to connect with the truth of the people that you're trying to reach. Your potential clients, your partners, your investors, your employees, right? I'm inspired employees. You know how much money you save and make from that, So you've bypassed the soul and went straight to the tactics. So the strategy everywhere. You all know the strategy. You can find this stuff everywhere, right? And these guys are awesome. They teach you all about how to build great businesses and make a lot of money. But, the soul is what's going to keep something sustainable and really create that momentum to build a great business. So you've mistaken surface level wins for inner alignment. I've done this. I tell this from experience. I've racked up a lot of wins thinking that it has created momentum for the business, but the wins were in a bit of a deviation from what my business was actually meant to be. So they didn't quite have the staying power, right? So, I think it's just when you build a business, it gets hard to stay on signal, to stay on track, to stay within that inspiration, the reason that you started it in the first place. That's what this story compass is going to be all about. So you're scaling something that feels more and more disconnected from you. The spark that started it all is flickering. We all know what that feels like, guys. Worst of all, you chose to be being palatable to a confused and always changing market over being true. And this is the cardinal sin of authenticity. So listen, the world is more depressed, medicated, and more distracted than ever. So why are you bending your message to fit a broken system? Why are you kneeling to people who are not happy? When you calibrate, why are you calibrating your signal, dimming your light to an audience that's actually starving for resonance? The world doesn't need more dopamine hooks. It needs reminders of what's possible, of what's true, of who we really are. And that's the quiet miracle inside your business, the spark that started it all. It wasn't just an idea. It was a transmission, inspiration, empowerment, belief. What if your brand became a beacon for that? So it's really about, this is 90% of the world, guys. It just is. We know it. We know it's true. People are addicted, they're unhappy, they're depressed, they're anxious. And we have an opportunity as business leaders putting messages out into the world to inspire these people into feeling better about themselves. And the product that you're putting out, at least within the inspiration, is all about that. Inspirations aren't selfish. They're for everybody. And you are meant to bring that inspiration out through the work that you do, i.e. in this case, your business. So why are you using psychological tricks? Why are we manipulating people through needs and keeping them more addicted to their phones and bad food and sugar and all of this stuff? I promise you that is really reaching a breaking point where people are just on the cusp of throwing their phones in the water and saying, I just want somebody to tell me the truth, right? So you have an opportunity to do that. And again, it's not spitting facts. It's about transmitting the truth of that moment and feeling of inspiration. So really, it's about taking this and offering it to all of these people through your business communication. That's a story compass. And yeah, I don't care what you sell. There is inspiration and paradigm shifting energy behind every single idea. If you sell coffee beans, insurance, tractors, these are the kind of companies I've worked with. Okay. In just a few years, I've worked construction services, barbershops, investment banking, soccer, education, spiritual leaders, fitness coaches, cannabis, online schools, Montessori schools, sustainability consultants, all with the same core idea that whatever inspired you to start the business is going to be the most powerful language to communicate with your audience. All right. So each one of your businesses has this spark that can just like shift the paradigm. And I genuinely believe that. And it's my mission to find that in your business. And then the story compass is about turning it into a storytelling language. So here's what you actually need. You need a confrontation with your original inspiration and intent, which you lost somewhere in the last 12 pivots, expert opinions, or layers of positioning. You need a violent end to that diluted, polite version of your brand that you've been performing. The courage to say, this is what I'm actually here to do, and let the world calibrate to that. A signal so true that it scares you a little because it means you can't hide anymore. A story foundation so potent and clear that it reshapes how your entire business operates. I want to show you something. So this is a manifesto. I call it a manifesto now. At the time, it was my business plan. I didn't know anything about business at this time, guys, okay? So this is like a month. I started my business in January 2019. And then a month later, my friend Emery, who was the one who really inspired me to start the business, who planted the seed, he asked me to come join him down in Argentina, and we worked on business together for like 5 weeks. It was incredible. And in that time, while I was down there, I wrote this manifesto, essentially, is what it has become. It was meant to be kind of maybe like a lead magnet or something. And then it just morphed into this, me articulating the entire essence of what my business is all about. And I can tell you right from the beginning, just look at it, I think I get a highlighter here. Yeah. So whether you are an insurance company selling exotic coffee beans, a workplace startup, a publishing house, I can go on for pages. What I'm offering is simple. I want to help you find the story at the core of who you are, the story that beautifully captures the truth and essence of what inspired your company into being, and utilize it as your foundation to maximize emotional impact and resonance as you present yourself to the world. That's the company. And this thing just absolutely calibrates me to what it was all about in those initial moments, because those initial moments, that inspiration hitting you is so powerful that you can use it as fuel forever. It's going to be your source of storytelling. It's your source of how you communicate and inspire your audience. It is not to negate proper business practices, but this is about inspiring your audience into feeling what you felt and understanding at the highest level why the world needs what you're offering and why they may need it. Of course, you want to sell to your audience, but I imagine that inspiration would not be true, wouldn't have hit you if it wasn't something that was going to be widely beneficial to an audience, right? So it all kind of works together, and it makes sense. You can trust that inspiration has a really profitable business in it, and you don't need to resort to tricks and tactics and hacks. You can do it with more authenticity and more integrity, and Story Compass is going to help you. Another thing I just want to show you as well, if you're just relying on need, like what people need, you're going to lose. Need has competition. Truth, essence, the unique energetic signature of your idea, which became your business, has no competition. So that's another thing about really leveraging the inspiration behind your company, is that when you do and you communicate it properly, there's no other business like it. Look at Apple. Apple's a great example of that. Apple is absolutely rooted in Steve Jobs' inspiration behind the company. And it has such a defined, unique language and way of communicating that it could never be confused for something else. So really, I'll look over here. This is the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? This, physiological needs: air, water, food, shelter. And guys, this is not to at all ignore the fact that there's a lot of the human population right now that is still in survival mode in other countries and such. Absolutely. This is with full respect to that fact. But let's move up this, and I'll show you why this matters. Personal security, violence, crime, war, health and well-being, community and friendships, self-respect, confidence, and such. All of this is great. The one we're focused on with the Story Compass, though, really is self-actualization. Because no matter where anybody is at on this Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is what it is. Okay, backward. There we go. Everybody's got a seed of this in them. Okay, everybody's got the seed of whatever their full potential is. All right, even if somebody is in survival mode, even if somebody is in health and romantic issues, and anybody along this, we all have that seed of self-actualization. And I'm not saying that a powerful story can inspire somebody out of poverty, but it can inspire enough people that you start to create momentum towards a better world that moves towards less poverty, right? So if you are somebody who has access to this, you can access your creativity, your personal growth, moral development, you're in that position then to really step into the role of somebody who can be a beacon for others. The Story Compass is all about that. It's harmonizing a business so that business can be a beacon to not only be profitable and successful for the business, but you're putting out such a powerful story that you're actually inspiring people to see themselves at a higher tier and to feel like that self-actualized version of themselves, right? Just imagine, there's no losing if you can leverage this. But we're going to talk about ROI, and like I said, it's going to really shock you. So where are we at? Great. You need a signal so true, the courage. You've seen all of this. Wonderful. Now let's talk about me. So who am I and why trust me? I am a filmmaker. I'm not a marketing bro. I'm not a brand coach. I'm not here to teach funnels and frameworks. I actually can't stand most of the online marketing space, to be honest. I feel like there's a lot of embellishment. There's a lot of tactics, all that stuff. And we can all see through it, right? Sometimes you still need something and you still buy it, but we can all see through it when we're being sold to. So it's a space that has not really resonated with me or felt good at all. And I've always taken my filmmaking language to my work, but it took a while to really trust that, though, because I was trying to join into the marketing jargon for a while and see myself as a marketer. It never felt right, though, but even more than a filmmaker, I'm a story architect. My life's work is the science of emotional resonance through story, and film has been the mechanism. So I study what makes people feel, what triggers inspiration, and why. I'll show you. I found this just a few days ago, but an old email to my professor in my final year of university in 2009, my senior project, which is kind of like a thesis in media, was the art of emotionally engaging an audience through film. that are, and you see the highlighted part. The article really made it clear that there's definitely a specific and very intentional structure to the process of creating intense emotion in an audience. So you can see I've been on about this now for 16 years. Okay. And then from that, I went and made my first short film back in New Brunswick. I made a couple, won some awards. This one was really sad love story. I just wanted to make people cry. And I basically tested out my senior project by making a film and seeing if I could make people cry. And I did. I made people cry and I won awards. And it was nominated for the best film in New Brunswick. So that was fun. Then I moved out to Vancouver. I immediately started working at the Vancouver Film School. I did several high-profile projects for them, all filmmaking, all directing. Ultimately, in 2019, I started my business with that massive spark of inspiration, as I've talked about. And I made a lot of films through the business. So the business, we do the Story Compass, but we also do cinematic brand films. So yeah, we did a bunch of films. Here's me in Vancouver. We flew to Ibiza for some projects, some to London, did some green screen. This is an insane project. You can find it on my website. I did some even more corporate stuff, like this is an investment banking company out of Toronto. I even did some work for Moosehead, which if you're Canadian, you know who Moosehead is, the beer company. We did some like high profile legacy concept work for them, which ultimately will get turned into a brand campaign. But it's going to take some balls for them to really put this out, to be honest, because it's going to really shift things. But that was, so we've done quite a lot of stuff. So yeah, my idea was, hey, we do so much deep work with these films that as a product in and of itself, the compass is super valuable. So my work is rooted in the expansion of consciousness. I spent years behind marketing jargon, but the truth is I've always seen story and business through a deeply spiritual lens. And yeah, I think you've probably seen that so far in this presentation. But I want to also just clarify, though, that doesn't mean that, business is that I go to businesses and give them this spiritual message. As I'm going to show you, storytelling is very much about communicating a deeper message through familiarity, through reference points that we are comfortable and familiar with. So you're transmitting the message. It's a Trojan horse, essentially, is what it is. And we'll show you exactly what I'm talking about coming up. But so as much as I'm a very spiritual and very practical, I understand how business works. I understand we have to communicate to a market that's not necessarily tuned into those concepts. And the language that we use has to be rooted in what is familiar. So I've gone through the trials, the feast, famine, the noise, the doubt, the years of building, having that vision, and then going to the bottom of the mountain and building it back up through different experiences and projects and clients. So what I have now is what I would call spiritual certainty in what I'm offering here to you today. So my mission is crystal clear: to help raise the frequency of the planet through story. Each business that becomes harmonized with its core story and powerfully puts out that signal becomes a source of inspiration for the world. And I believe that. And that's the mission of the business. And trust me, this is all about being super beneficial for your business as well, and the bottom line. So yeah, this is actually a feature film that I'm working on. I just put that in there to show you that I'm developing right now a feature. So I'm a working filmmaker as well as helping your business find its core signal. This is the website for Storylance, our company. So yeah, but we'll move on. So what is story? First, let's go to what story is not. All right. Story is not structure. A lot of us have seen, the 3-act structure and exposition, incident, plot points, and plots. A lot of people can say this is a story, but you could follow every beat and still say nothing true. So this is important to recognize. Structure is not story. Okay, there's narrative structures all over the place. That's what they call it, storytelling, right? Because the structure is what tells the story. It's not the story in and of itself, right? This is useful for sure. It's not story. So put that over there. Sorry, guys. I'm just, hacking my way through this whiteboard thing Anyways, stories and techniques or frameworks. A lot of people that are learning storytelling for business have heard about the and, but, therefore technique. So it's like, the idea is that this is how stories are communicated. But I always found it odd because this is just how we naturally communicate, right? If you were to tell a story, you're not going to just continue saying and. You're not going to be like, so I went to the store and I bought some candy, and then I walked home. And then of course, if you're going to sit around a campfire and you have something to say, it probably has a little, wrench thrown into what would be the obvious unfolding of the narratives. That's what the and but therefore is, right? It just means that you would say, I'm walking to the store. I I walk into the store. That would be the and then I walked to the store, but I realized I forgot my wallet. Therefore, I had to decide whether I was going to steal the candy or run back and get my wallet. Like, that's the general structure, right? We all already know this. We've been communicating in storytelling in story language since we've been communicating. Okay. I mean, we all those few people that maybe just go and, but like that generally doesn't make a lot of sense in our body. So we wouldn't really do that. So again, this is basic communication 101. We naturally communicate in the rhythm of story. So you don't need to think about that stuff, guys. Story is not your timeline. Okay. It's not, we started in 1999, then we expanded in 2005. Then like a lot of people think their story is their timeline. That's also not story. It's not. That's just facts and events that happened. A lot of times when you tell a specific part of your life, it can very much reflect your core story and your core essence, but it's not that story and essence in and of itself, right? So another one here. So it's not your timeline. And story is really not about you at all. It's a portal to something bigger than you. You're the vessel. You are the communicator of that inspiration. We don't know where that came from. We don't know where the inspiration came from, but you have been tasked now as the vessel to communicate that, right? The more you can take the personal and the ego out of it, the more powerful it's going to be for your audience and everybody that you're speaking to. So yeah, put it here. You're not coming up with new ideas. You are unearthing the idea that you were gifted. Your business is a byproduct of your story. It's a byproduct of that idea. It's not the idea in and of itself. So let's go a little deeper. So what is story really? Story is remembrance of what's always been true beneath the noise. Story is a mythic bridge between who you've been and what's been calling you forward. Story bypasses logic and speaks directly to the soul. That's why it feels like expansion. That's why it lands. It's not about delivering facts. Okay. Story is a Trojan horse. It carries the clarity, truth, and frequency of your brand disguised in the familiarity of narrative structure. Now, I'm going to show you the example of the Trojan horse. Okay. So just imagine the Trojan horse. So Trojan horse is a Greek mythological Greek story about, I think in order to get into Troy, the Trojans brought a horse. I should know this better, but I know the analogy. They brought a horse and it was filled with soldiers inside. So it was masked as a gift, but inside with soldiers. So that's how they got into the city of Troy. And then they let the soldiers out and all of that. So now it's the analogy of when you're telling a story, whether that's a story like Captain America, music, art, dance, brand, okay? Brand storytelling, okay? That's the Trojan horse. So then what's inside? The inspiration, the spark, the idea that you had in its original, purest, first principle form, okay? Where you need to find a way to communicate it somehow so that the audience can feel it as closely as possible as you felt it. So that's what storytelling is. Okay, and then we need to then put it in a familiar structure, like a superhero story, music, art, dance, and then branding storytelling, so that your audience can receive it logically, but then they can feel it as well. They can feel the depth of it. That's what storytelling is all about, guys. So moving on. Story is not personal, it's essential. It's a transmission of your business was built to deliver to the world. So story is your energetic signature. And when you're aligned at the story level, everything else calibrates: your content, your offers, your team, your clients, your growth. It's a little Steve Jobs quote. We're here to put a dent in the universe, or else why even bother? So just guys, when you got this inspiration, this is a gift directly to you and only you. Only you have the intimate relationship with that feeling and that powerful moment where that inspiration hit you, and it was like that, right? So if you're not honoring that, and you're just playing in the world of what has come before. I'm not going to try to find my guy here, there. If you're just playing in this world here, that's literally, I wrote it here, it's the past. You're regurgitating what has already been. So what are you here for then? If you're just to regurgitate what has already happened, like, to me, that doesn't make any sense at all. To me, it's all about honoring what is coming through, what has been given to you from wherever inspiration comes from. I don't know. And then it's our job to then carry it forward as best we can, where businesses often become a byproduct. See, I'm telling you, business is far more powerful than just a thing to make money and to give a product to people. So that's what we're talking about here, guys. So story is your energetic signature. And when you're aligned at the story level, everything else calibrates. I think I already said that. Great. So moving on. So what actually is the Story Compass? What's the product? The Story Compass is not a service. It's realignment. It's cinematic, energetic, and narrative reckoning with the truth your brand is actually here to carry. It's an excavation, a guided deep dive into the soul of your business to uncover emotional architecture beneath it all. It's your signal, not a document or a guide, but a living language, a tone, a rhythm, a clarity that becomes your eternal North Star. I promise I'm going to show you what it looks like. Okay. For this moment and every evolution after. That's the thing. The Story Compass is a lifetime investment. As soon as you have it, your essence never changes. So you funnel your decision making through it forever, and you're just going to be aligned forever. It's a recalibration tool where every part of your business starts working in resonance. Your content sharpens, your offers land, your team gets it, you don't veer off. The simple truth, your audience feels what you felt all along. So I'll show you. The very first Story Compass I did was back in like 2020. Okay, it was just a document, really, but still had the truth in it, the emotional essence of JTR. This is literally a construction services company. Okay, so here's a little bit of the deck that I had about it. Do you remember how it felt when you dreamed up your business? Even this is actually really as simple as it is, guys. We dive back into the aha moment. We rediscover the core stuff that ignited the fire. We translate that to your story and inspiration blueprint. There. But I'll show you, in the initial days, this is what a compass looked like. This is the very first one we did. I did it for a few $100. And this guy literally has a construction company. He's awesome though. And he's so much integrity, and people just love him so much that he wanted to learn, how do I scale this feeling that people have about me up when the business grows beyond this one location? And that's what the document we delivered was all about. So, but then it's evolved. This is the most previous iteration of the Story Compass. You see, I have the same cover page there because I just love that image so much. Where we're getting a bit more into branding concepts and such, right? So I'll show you. This is for a local higher end barbershop, and I can show you what this is now a more previous iteration of what the compass looks like. Now this is the product, guys, but it's more of a one-on-one experience that we're going to deep dive together into the truth of what your business is all about. And then, of course, you're going to get a guide that you can always refer to that will allow you to tap back into all these conversations we had and all the stuff that we unearthed, and how that translates to your social media, to your advertising, to your copywriting, to how you communicate even internally to your team. So yeah, but these all take on different forms to just really focus. It's not like there's a framework. Every company is going to have a different framework. They're going to have a different compass. Okay. So it's not, I promise, I think it's important to say that I don't just follow a framework. It's about what is most true for your business and how it can be the most effective guide possible that you can always tap into for the rest of the time your business exists. And your business can evolve through the compass. All right. It's not like there's no change. It's just this taps you back into the inspiration so the ideas flow more clearly. Okay. So yeah, so that's what the compass is. Now I'm going to show you a case study for a client called Regal Grooming Lounge. It's a different barbershop. It's a really high-end place. I started working with them a few years ago. They were a pretty early client where we actually started with a brand film for them, which is right here, this one. And I can play a second of it. You can kind of see it playing. I don't know if you can hear it. You can watch the whole thing. I'll link it. It should be on my YouTube. Anyways, yeah, we created a brand film for them right before COVID happened, actually. And So I was a little disappointed because they were actually going to put it out in front of the new James Bond film once we delivered it. But then I went back with them and we created the full compass. Here's the thing, guys, is that in order to make the brand film, I kind of did the compass already in my head. I kind of had to understand the depth of the business. I cheated a little because I was a client for them for a long time. So I knew exactly what it felt like to walk into Regal and then to be able to look at their communication and see, was that aligning with how I felt as a client? And it wasn't at the time. So we started with the film, but then I came back a few years later because the website still looked not quite, and I offered to bring this new idea that I had of the story compass and bring the company out to a fuller level. So what's happened with Regal? So it's just a single location barbershop is now a 7-figure powerhouse on the cusp of national expansion. While others collapsed post-COVID, example of that right here, Regal just got stronger. So everything we do through the compass lens, we've got ads with 9x return on ad spend, videos that move heaven and earth, a significant growth of 780 to nearly 1,000 members in just a few months. $55 average cost per visit. Membership is half their revenue. You do the math. They're doing extremely well. The result, they can't miss. Regal's now a self-sustaining force of a brand, still one location, but behaves like it's global. Walk through the door, you feel the gravitational pull, the bigness. Every touch point, from the lighting to the language to the staff, is calibrated to the core signal. Okay, I'll show you. We did a couple projects with them recently. Well, first, let me show you the website. Okay, just want to show you a few things on here. So this is the old website. Now, again, the compass we want, yes, it's to turn into something tangible. We want it to improve your website experience, improve the experience and communication with your clients so that they arrive on your website and they feel it totally. They feel a signal. They feel who you are. So I look at this and I know the depth. And Regal's a high-end place. It's cool. It's got this elegance to it, right? So if I'm looking on here and I see, you read a few things. Well, you got another brand in there, first off. I don't know what this is. It says Portuguese Council. I have no idea why that sign is there. We're in Canada. And then you've got this, I'm sure he's an amazing client and it's a nice hot day, but somebody walking in with the white shorts on. It's all totally fine. Okay, nothing about this there's nothing wrong. There's nothing inherently wrong here, including with the copywriting down here. We see the best thing you put it on display. It's this, is a little bit not reflective of the experience. It's not that feminine, it feels a little, the guy's shirtless and stuff. That's not Regal. They don't, there's none of that in there. This looks like a spa versus what Regal is, which is really elegant, high-end men's grooming lounge. So all of that, again, there's nothing inherently that bad with it. But once we did the compass, we were able to very easily see how we can enhance the experience. And it became this. So you can see we got a very high level cinematic image for the front page of the shop that makes it look exactly what it is. And then we updated the copywriting, stronger. And it could be just like, oh, well, this might be just good marketing and copywriting and branding, right? It's all strong and simple because it's done through the compass. We use the compass to make decisions, right? So, since we changed the website, it's been a boost. Everything has been going well. He's hitting well beyond his numbers, expectations. So it's all going extremely well. And then below that, we would have the video, which I showed you just a second ago there. So the website's just like trifecta. It's got incredible cinematic image that calibrates you, copywriting that calibrates you, and then the video that really calibrates you. Now, we just had, that video has been on the website for 5 years, okay? And they had somebody come off a cruise ship from New York that looked at the website, saw the video, and said, I knew you guys got it, and I had to come here. So they're feasting off that thing for 5 years, okay? This video, this cinematic experience that shows the essence of what the barbershop is really about. But in order for us to arrive there, have to have the compass first. A couple other things that we've done, Angelo came to me and said, we need a video for, I'm in this competition down in Vegas. I think there was several hundred to 1,000 competitors. It was a conference for brands that were looking to expand or franchise. Yeah. So you needed to get the top 3. Again, we did it, leveraged what we saw in the compass to talk about what the brand really is at its core, created the video, and Angelo got in the top 3. And he went down to Vegas, spoke in front of 1,000 people. He got on stage. He was able to present. Here he is. I think that woman's famous, apparently. She's like a housewife or something. But yeah, it was very cool. And he said, if I get into the top 3, then I have an opportunity to go on stage. And we got him in the top 3. And you might think like, oh, hey, Greg, you're telling us you're a great video maker. What does this have to do with? I think I'm articulating it well, that the reason the videos land is because it's the compass that we use to calibrate everything before we do the work, before we do the videos, before we do any of that. So just recently, Angelo came to me and he said, we are, they're losing some employees through a temporary foreign worker program. He messaged he's emailed the news, he's emailed the government to try to get somebody to answer and somebody to hear his plea. He's been ignored by the government for almost a year. So I said, Angelo, let's make a video. Just like we did for Vegas, we'll make another video. We'll interview you. We'll talk about the case, talk about what it is that you're trying to tell people. It collapses time to have video, because you're trying to explain everything to people. And then why wouldn't you just put it into like a high level piece of cinema that can articulate everything in 2 to 3 minutes, including the emotion of it, right? So yeah, he eventually agreed to do it, and we did it. Within 24 hours, it had over 10,000 views. The CBC News Radio got him on for an interview. CTV City News showed up. This is in Vancouver. This is a major city. City News Vancouver showed up and did a piece. The Daily Hive, major Vancouver news source, went in, created a whole article, talked about the video in the article. So this all happened within like a couple of days of launching this. So it's like everything we do, of course, he's running into some issues right now with the government and such, but he's actually had a client who's a member of parliament say that like they're now seeing it and they'll take it further if they have to. So I think he's going to avoid a problem, which is going to be losing a third of his barbers, therefore a third of his clients. So when you put that signal out, when you are emotionally connecting with people, it just puts you in a better position no matter what it is that you're trying to do. The compass is the source for all of that. So yeah, this is a bit of just a look at the document, the compass document that we gave to Regal. We talk about the essence. We talk about how it will look in social media. And then we also talk about, notice these, I like this, notice these ads work at current Regal scale, or if it was a globally recognized brand. It's all to illustrate that once you expand, nothing has to change in regards to essence, voice, and storytelling of Regal. Also recognize how much more impactful the tagline is when paired with exceptional images. So yeah, I mean, these are little billboard mock-ups, but I'm going to show you. I want you to remember this because now we're going to talk about ROI. And I know we're at 50 minutes. I thought it'd be a lot shorter to get through this, but hopefully I've maintained your attention and intrigue. And now we're talking about the stuff that really, really does matter a lot is ROI. So there's 5 main areas where the story compass will give you ROI. I'll go through them very briefly here, and then I'm going to go through them a little bit more extensively. Number 1, clarity, speed equals money. When your message is scattered, you stall. Every stalled week costs you momentum, clarity, and cash. So say we're talking like a $50K a month company investing in the story compass. The ROI would be 20 to 50K a year in reclaimed opportunity and avoided strategy costs. Conversion power. Aligned story amplifies every dollar you spend, turning ads, content, and offers into resonance machines. ROI 55 to 126K a year in increased revenue on ad spend alone. Now let me show you an exact example of what I'm talking about here. Proof. So remember those ads I just showed you? We turned them into Instagram ads and started running them for Regal. All right. So really solid, story driven. None of them are begging the audience to choose them. None of them are saying, come visit our barbershop. They're putting this powerful tagline and then, cleverly articulating the services that they offer, including scotch, including lounge, things like that, right? And then we modified them obviously for each individual picture. Shows that there's more pampering and grooming. So these are pictures that really match the experience quite a lot. So, we ran some ads between November 15th and December 31st. There's 185 new bookings. Essentially, it's $55 for a booking. So $6 return on ad spend. It was about $1,100 on ad spend. It's a 9x return on ad spend. Okay. This is more recent. So in the first few weeks, you get like a 13 to 14x return on ad spend. These are more recent ads. Same philosophy. We're always going story driven. We're always funneling everything through the compass. But I want to show you between November 15th and January 1st. They have been building memberships for 5 years, right? So between a month and a half, they added 25% of membership count. They went from 787 to 990. So 203 members added in 1.5 months, 11,165 per month added monthly recurring revenue. It's $130,000 a year. So does that match up? Sure does. A little bit more, actually. These are conservative numbers, guys, by the way. So yeah, and one thing I do want to say right here, okay? You see a lot of people going on selling their stuff and saying, like, as soon as, Regal's an incredible company. They're awesome. They have incredible staff. There's a lot of different reasons and a lot of different elements that go into the success of the company. It's not just creative output and signal output. It's a massive part of it, but there's a lot of things that go into this. I am a part of it for sure, definitely, and I know full well that the compass is in not just aligning the messaging, but aligning the team, right? So that they know how to communicate better to the customers that come into the store. Even so, it's all encompassing good, but I do not want to say that I am the sole reason for a business making $133,000 extra in a year, but I am part of it, and the story compass is definitely part of it. So that's one element, right? Let's look at the rest. Team culture and alignment. A clear story rallies your team. They onboard faster, perform better. They stay longer because they feel they are part of something special. Okay. I've been in that experience when I've worked at jobs that I've hated, and the owner or some new CEO comes in and like gives this big inspiring speech, and suddenly I want to be there. Usually that's short lived, but either way, when there's real truth and alignment and momentum, and it's not fake, people want to stay longer. They want to be a part of the story because they feel that it is significant, right? So just like how much it costs to lose an employee. So 30K, just conservatively, you've saved 30K a year in retention, 48K a year in founder time saved. We'll go a little deeper into that. Mistake avoidance. Without a compass, you waste money chasing tactics and rewriting copy that never felt true in the first place. I have a friend who spent $60,000 for a new brand guide for her company 5-6 years ago. That's never materialized. It's never become anything. Nothing wrong with that. That happens, but it doesn't have to happen, because I think if you went in with a clear signal with the story compass, there'd be so many less mistakes made that you're just gonna create momentum and save so much money and earn a lot more money. And then the emotional ROI, the one that changes everything. You stop questioning, stop shrinking, and are finally excited, proud, and emotionally engaged in your business again. What's the ROI on that? It's the energetic unlock that multiplies every other return. Very quickly, I'll go through this. The clarity, speed, as we've just talked about. Story compass brings emotional narrative coherence in under 4 weeks. 20 to 50K in avoided ad spend and reclaimed momentum. Second guessing, hiring agencies, fixing the surface, problems actually at the root. Creative alignment and conversion power. Cinematic, emotionally aligned story makes everything convert better, as we've shown you with the ads that we ran for Regal. So it transforms the emotional resonance of your communication. Massive uplift in ROI in that. The team culture and alignment. The team knows what to say and how to say it. The new hires get it faster. Content creation becomes plug and play. Retention impact. When the mission is clear and emotionally resonant, employees stay because they're part of something real. Turnover drops. Culture deepens. Even just saving one key team member from quitting early at a replacement cost of 50 to 100% of salary is a 30K savings alone. And for the founder, even saving 5 hours a week in decision fatigue, content rewrites, realigning the team, explaining their vision, again, 20 hours a month. Assume a founder's time is worth 200 hours minimum, $200 an hour, $4,000 a month saved in time and energy, 48K a year in reclaimed bandwidth, avoiding brand mistakes. Here's a few examples of brand mistakes. Like, you've seen Jaguar, what they've done. Most people believe it won't be successful. Jaguar's done the unthinkable, where they've taken the essence of the brand and completely just tossed it aside and basically created a new company, and took the Jaguar name and slapped it on. I don't think it's going to work because it defies everything we're talking about here, unless it works as a brand new company. Okay, which is just a bizarre thing because there's the DNA has been abandoned, and you see the reaction online. Okay, it's 90% negative. So I have a friend who worked at BlackBerry. They ran this commercial. They said there's going to be a massive boost and there's going to be sales. It was a Super Bowl commercial. They brought in all the tech guys so that they could ensure that like the system was going to handle all of the outpouring of success that was going to come from this Super Bowl ad. I don't know if you remember it. The guy like turned into Skittles or something, and he said there was just the tiniest little blip. People didn't care, like because they're just chasing trends and what they think is going to be. There's a popular sunglasses brand, I won't say who, in Vancouver, I know, paid $50,000 to have an influencer with like 200,000 followers post about their sunglasses. They said it led to like, I don't know, a couple hundred sales or something. So just like all of these mistakes, guys, just people are just making dumb decisions to keep their job in the agency, and there's so much bloat, and there's so much just ego, and there's so much just putting the trust of your brand into people that just want to keep their jobs and do the right thing by the data and the metrics and won't take risks and blah blah blah. It costs a lot more than you think. All right, so this gives you the North Star that filters every future decision. I know we're at an hour now. Hey, this is important stuff. ROI, 25 to 50K in wasted ad spend avoided. So where are we at? And the emotional ROI. Let's not ignore the most valuable and often forgotten ROI. Feeling seen in your business again, making decisions from alignment, not reaction, falling in love with your mission again. For a visionary, that is priceless. But if we had to price it, how much would someone pay to get their power back? So this ROI is the multiplier on everything else. That's why like even talking about ROI feels it diminishes the value that this product actually gives you. It's so much bigger than that. But yes, you will get the ROI. Absolutely 100%. So total potential ROI of the Story Compass conservatively, add it all together, about 177 to 300,000 1-year conservative return if you implement it, of course. Worst case scenario, even if you take one single insight from the Story Compass, you never use the whole doc, you half-ass the implementation, you still avoid hiring the wrong people, running ads with weak messaging, spinning your wheels, rewriting your positioning for the 100th time. This alone saves you 15K. Worst case, you're still 2 to 3xing your investment in pure cost avoidance, and that's assuming the bare minimum. Final word, this isn't a cost. This is the most economically sound investment a founder can make. Not just because it sharpens your message, but because it protects your time, your team, your ad budget, your emotional bandwidth. Cost of confusion account compounds. The ROI of clarity, it also compounds. Worst case, you avoid a few expensive mistakes. Best case, you build the clearest, most resonant brand that you were meant to build of your life, and everything starts to work. So yeah, don't know how much clearer I can get on the ROI, and again, it's so much even bigger than ROI, but I know that matters. I get it, guys. I totally get it. So this is for a specific kind of founder. We're wrapping up now. You've always known this business was more than just a business. It's like a sacred assignment you couldn't shake if you tried. Your work feels more like a soul contract, but you've never had the words to name it. You're exhausted from trying to explain the unexplainable. You've written 100 bios, taglines, pitch decks, and none of them feel like the truth. You're done gilding the lily. What gilding the lily means the lily is already beautiful in and of itself. It doesn't need anything else. Okay? That's kind of what your business is too. Okay? You do not need to do anything more or extra than what it naturally is. And our storytelling work is going to be about bringing forward what it naturally is, communicating it in language that will resonate. So no more tweaks, masks, trend chasing. You're tired of compromising your nature to appease a confused, depressed market. You're ready to go all in on the truth, no matter who doesn't get it. You don't want everyone, you want the right ones, and they'll only come when the signal is clear. Again, guys, going back to our diagram here, the left and the right brain, right? This isn't about completely ignoring this. It's about balancing the scale more in this direction. Okay, so there's more emphasis given to this side of the scale. Okay, and it's going to be just so powerful for your business. So And I'd like to say as well, every decision in your life and your business comes down to two sides: fear versus love. We've heard that before, right? Especially if you're a little bit spiritual, you've heard that before. All of this is based on fear. It's based on the past. Okay, it's based on, I'm afraid they won't get it. I'm here to tell you that they will get it. Utilize this as a tool to keep things calibrated. But trust me, the world wants this message. They want the original vision of your business. They want what it was always meant to be. All right? That's what we're going to bring out through the Story Compass. Okay? Further, I don't even know what I wrote here, but I know it's good. Contraction versus expansion. This side's all about expansion. It's all about, think about evolution, guys. It logically makes sense to me that evolution is really the evolution of consciousness. And then what happens in the physical follows the evolution of consciousness, in which we're always expanding. Our new ideas are the bricks for what the future is going to be. And we are the vessel that's got to bring that new idea out to fruition, into reality, right? So that's what it's all about. And then contraction means closing off, not being expansive, being fearful, being worried that they won't get it, researching the market, asking the market what they want. They don't know what they want. Henry Ford said that if I'd have asked the market what they want, they'd have said a faster horse. I love that quote. And I know Steve Jobs wasn't a big market research guy as well. It's like, you got to honor the vision and trust that it's there for a reason, right? So I think I have a third one: imitation versus truth. Yeah. Over here, you're imitating what already has been, literally what data is, studying what has been. Here you are trusting in what is meant to be and what is still to come and what is coming through you now. Any more? No, that's it. So yeah, guys, one final consideration. We haven't talked a lot about AI today, have we? And I know AI is a really, 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 really big part of the world now. So I'm going to just share with you a little my thoughts on it and how the Story Compass is 10 times more important because of AI. Okay. As AI becomes more prominent, the Story Compass becomes your most cherished tool. AI will master the world of the senses: seeing, smelling, tasting, touching, hearing. So human emotional resonance will be our rarest asset. The Story Compass doesn't compete with AI. It calibrates you to the plane of existence that is beyond AI. On this plane, nature, intuition, harmony, emotions, flow, frequency, vibration. Okay? There's this whole world that we're connected to. All right? This is it always has been our language of communication. But now it's going to be something that we are going to be forced to tap into a lot more. It's communicating through how something feels. You all know what that feels like. This hidden world that we just don't acknowledge, like tension. We know what tension feels like. You walk into a room where it doesn't feel good, so you leave. There's this whole world of communication out there that we just don't give enough credit to because we're so swept up with what we're given as our sensory experience of the world. So AI is going to master that. It's going to create incredible stuff that looks and feels and real. But the analogy I want to give to you is the tree analogy. All right. So you see these two beautiful trees here. Okay. Now imagine that somebody came, like a film crew, for example. Sometimes film crews need to put fake trees in. And imagine they put a fake tree in the forest. And this tree was so realistic that not a single sense, even if you touched it, even if you smelled it, even if you put your ear up to it, there would be no difference. It's calibrated perfectly to what the forest looks like, feels like. Nobody walking by will ever be able to tell the difference. Okay? That's AI. That's what AI is becoming. But unfortunately for AI, there's this whole world that exists underneath the earth, this connectivity, this intelligence that connects all of the trees. So do you think the other trees would bond with this tree in the way that they do a real tree? No, they wouldn't. Do you think the animals would recognize whether or not this is a real tree? Most of them probably would, right? It's not part of the harmony of nature. You are part of the harmony of nature, and I am as well. Like, we have our own language of communication that exists beyond the realm of AI. Okay, and this is how we're going to be forced to communicate from that realm now. because of AI is now coming and blowing our minds and making us realize that we actually have kind of been behaving like robots. It's going to open up the next phase of human potential because it's going to force us into the next phase of human potential. The stuff that we have access to that it doesn't have access to, which is this whole other world of communication that exists beyond the senses. Okay. Just like the trees, we can spot it. We know when something's fake. We know when something's AI. We've seen it all. Okay. You know when you get a chat GPT email. You know, a video can blow your mind today, and then in 3 days, you can tell, you can see it, and you know it's fake. Like, we adapt so quickly because we know what truth is. So you see how important the story compass is going to become in that sense. Yeah, it's going to be your signal to show the world who you are at the full depth of truth. And we utilize storytelling as the vessel to communicate that message. Real storytelling, not AI calibrated storytelling, real storytelling. AI is a great tool. It's an amazing tool. It can never be the source. Even it knows that it can't be the source. It will never be the source. This is about the source. Okay. So, guys, this is your call to alignment. If you're seeing this now, you've got a rare chance to join an exclusive case study group. If you are seeing this, you might be set up. We might be doing a call soon. Generally, that's I send people to this video before we do a call. So the offer will never be less accessible than it is right now. Okay, this is really good timing. And this isn't just a service, it's a partnership. So for 6 months, I'll partner with you in your business. Okay, we will build a story compass initially. In the first 4 weeks, we're going to build a story compass. You'll have everything that you will need, but then you'll have me to lean on, to ask questions, to if anything feels it needs recalibrated, any of that. For 6 full months, I'll be there as you grow, as you go through phases, and to help you ensure that your decisions are on signal with the compass. It's in my best interest that you win, that you find your rhythm, your resonance, and rise to the level that your brand was destined for. So it's all about, okay, I want visionaries. I want people with big vision that believe their business can be an industry leader, all right? And I want the people who know that tapping in and understanding the core truth and leading with that is going to be the way that you get there. And I can help you with that. But let's be clear, this only works if we're the right fit. So we start with a conversation. So I ask you to please, if you might already have a call lined up, great. If not, I'm going to have a link below to book your 30-minute story session below, or message me the word compass on Instagram. That's my handle. And I'll personally reply with the next steps. At this moment, I do only take on 2 to 3 founders per month because we do very deep work together. All right. So you'll know on a call whether we have space. But yeah, that's it, guys. The last thing I'll leave you with is this little analogy of the golden thread. So the greatest realization of your brand exists within it right now. It's a legacy brand. It's a billion-dollar company, a cultural icon, an industry pioneer. The story compass is about finding that thread and weaving it through every single aspect of your brand today. It all comes down to this. Whatever inspired you to create is what will inspire them to choose you. And you know where this came from? I'll show you my original manifesto from back in 2019 to show you, to illustrate that the seed has always been there from the start. The full potential of your business exists already. The seed is what people want. People want that feeling that you had when you first came up with the idea for the business, that drove you into action in creating the business. And you can, through the story compass, capture that feeling, transmit it to your audience. You're going to make a ton of money and become a culturally significant brand. And I also believe fully that if you really calibrate to your signal and move through that, failure doesn't even become a thought. You can't fail because it's so inherently true. And when you act through truth, you can't fail. So I hope I said like 15 minutes and it's an hour and 15 minutes. So I hope I've held your attention. We are going to post this and I'll find a way to make it shorter. But, like I said, this is important work and I'm excited to meet you, to work with you. If we have a call coming up, awesome. Otherwise, yeah, that's it, guys. Have a great day.